Hello, everybody. It's the middle of July, so it's probably about time for the July update video, right? I think I got one out in June. So I think this is actually the July update video. Couple of things. One, I think I've got my camera set up properly now, which I hadn't done for the past 6 or 7 months or so. So maybe this will look better. And two, hopefully it won't sound like I'm whispering in this one and you have to turn your volume all the way up just to hear even a little bit of my nonsense. I don't know why last month's video was so quiet. It made no sense to me. Seems to be an OBS thing. Seems to be a kind of change in tact to how people used to say you should do OBS, which is keep game audio in the green and make sure your voice doesn't go like is halfway in the yellow. Now you seem to want your voice pretty much going into the red as much as possible. So that's kind of what I've got it set up now. So hopefully this sounds a lot better. Hopefully it looks a lot better. And hopefully we can carry on and get things done properly-ish. Better. Properly is probably too much for me, but better, right? Apologies if you can hear my fan. Again, something if you're going to do this properly, I would have turned the fan off. Yeah, I would have turned the fan off. Bye, fam. See you later. I regret saying that. Turn the fan off, and, you know, I would have suffered the heat, but no, it's hot, and I want the fan. And again, you know, most other people who would have flubbed the line fan and said fam instead would have cut and, you know, kind of redid this and cut all of this out and made it look good. But I bet you 10 donuts to a pint that I've left this in. Anyway, update for July. What's the plan? Same as it always is. Gadget? Same as it always is, Pinky. Oh my God. Inspector Gadget and the Brain. There's a cartoon series we didn't know we needed. Now I feel like we need it. Let's not go down a... I'm so tempted just to go down a tangent here because I want to talk about the Barney movie and what I think that's going to be, but that's not what these update videos are for. That's for other stuff on the other channel if I ever get it going. Speaking of... the first video, now I believe you're going to see this first in the end. The plan was to have the first review up on the Keiki Reviews channel. Something tells me you're going to see this first because I'm recording this because I'm having editing issues on that one. I think I've worked out what the issue is, but I've kind of had to put it away. Walk away from it, clear my head, and then I'll go back to it. So I'm kind of recording this as kind of clear my head thing. And I have an idea. I'm just going to whack this straight through and straight out. So it's very likely you'll see this first. And then the first review will go up hopefully pretty soon thereafter. Definitely by the end of this week. The first review. So what I'm going to do first, I've decided to watch just classic British comedies and just do short-ish reviews. I don't know how long they're going to be. I will be watching each episode. It would be more fun, I think, if it was, you know, multiple people talking about it, but I'm only me. I could probably talk to me, myself, and I, but I think that's just more ammo for when my family tries to get me committed at some point in the future. So, you know, let's keep that between ourselves for now. Anyway, the first one I'm going to be watching is Blackadder. Blackadder to me is an interesting one because I love Blackadder 2, 3, and 4. But I've never really been a fan of the Blackadder, the first one. So I've never really watched the Blackadder that many times. Maybe only once, and maybe not all 6 episodes, if I'm being completely honest. Whereas the others I've watched countless times. So it's been interesting. I've watched the first two episodes of the Blackadder. I still don't think it's very good. Kind of soft spoilers. It's better than I think I remember it being. I would have watched it when I was very, very young. But yeah, that's what I'm doing first. So there'll be 6 episodes covering the first series of Blackadder. And then I'll see if there's any interest in moving forward, whether I do Blackadder the second or move to kind of a different comedy. Maybe I'd like to get through all the Blackadders. Doesn't mean I have to put all the Blackadders out at once, I don't think. But, you know, I'd like to get some Dad's Army in there. Some more modern, probably like 20 years old by now stuff like IT Crowd would be good, I think. And Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, Spaced, These are all kind of more modern, and then going back, maybe some like Steptoe and Son, and maybe branching in on the kind of more sketch comedy ones, like maybe trying to get some Monty Python stuff in, and then maybe some Not the 9 O'Clock News, Fry and Laurie, all that kind of stuff. But for now, we'll concentrate on the sitcoms, and then we'll see what else we can bring in. And like I say, for now, we'll do 6 episodes of The Blackadder. I'll see how I feel about it, see if we get any response and what people feel about it, and see where we take it from there. But there will be those initial 6 episodes. They will be coming out weekly. Depending on when I put the first one out, they will come out on that day every week thereafter for 6 weeks. Could be whatever the day. Tuesdays. That's what today is. Could be Wednesdays. Could be Thursdays. In all fairness, I might change my mind and I might put it out to Fridays. It might be a nice kind of Friday thing. But then I also have the other thing I want to do on that channel, which is watching the most grossing new movie of the year I was born. Sorry, every year since the year I was born. So we'll be starting in 1983. And according to my research, that means Return of the Jedi is actually the first film I get to watch. And then I looked at 1984, 1985. I think 1984 is Ghostbusters, and 1985 is one of the Back to the Futures. So possibly the first one in 85. So that's a good solid start, right? But they've got to get worse as time goes on, right? We're going to have to deal with some Titanics. Probably only one Titanic, I would imagine. And then as we get into the 2000s, 2010s, I'm sure there's going to be Hunger Games, Harry Potter's. But it looks like, at least for the first 3, it's a pretty solid start. And again, the plan is just to watch them and then do kind of like a brief, very informal, very chatty review, what I liked, what I didn't. And then maybe bring in a little bit of what was going on in that year, just for a little bit of fun. And then maybe compare the kind of the highest grossing ones to see what else was around in 1983 and the years going forward. I think that'd be quite fun. Those will probably be every fortnight, if not every month, just because I feel like I want to put a lot more preparation, editing, and scripts and stuff into those. The quick and informal review would be part of it, but trying to build something out around it as well. So I feel those would just take a little bit longer. Whereas, the Blackadder stuff should be weekly. And again, that's kind of I said I wanted to get a quick down and dirty video series going. That's going to be the British comedy one, at least to start with. And then we'll see how it goes. If that needs more effort put into it to make it good, then we may have to think of something else we can do quick down and dirty. So that's kind of on that YouTube channel. I would put a link to it down below, but there's nothing there yet, so I won't. But hopefully when I do my next update in August, we can link to that channel because there'll be some content there for you to watch. Any other YouTube news? I'm putting a few VODs across when I try new games over on stream. We're playing a lot of Satisfactory on stream at the moment, which, don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying it, but I'm not moving it across to YouTube. And the channel that this is on right now will always be the Twitch VOD channel. I may just make it a Twitch VOD channel, which means I will stop bringing everything over, and then kind of these update videos would end up going somewhere else. And this, I might just rename this Police Cake VOD, something like that, but we'll see how it goes. But for the new stuff, so we've tried a couple of really, really great new games recently, actually, which... That's me saying that. That's me. Normally I hate stuff. But Forever Skies, wonderful kind of raft on a hot air balloon kind of game. Really good start, really solid start. It's got some really decent airship building. You can, design your rooms, make fairly big airships already. The story is quite good. The exploring and farming of resources is okay. It's not the best. But the gameplay loop seems quite nice, and I've got very, very high hopes for that. So hopefully that will... I think there should be an update first update since it's come out in early access fairly soon, actually. And once the update drops, we will definitely be bringing that back onto stream. What is the other game? Oh, Stranded Alien Dawn, which is in early access but has been out a lot longer. It's described as a 3D version of RimWorld. And honestly, that's a fairly apt description. That's not a slight on it whatsoever. It is just a statement of fact. I think they may even state that, it's very much inspired by RimWorld, and it very much is. But at least we did a crash landing scenario. They do kind of have 3 baked in scenarios. So there's crash landing, which I've tried. There's trading outpost and military outpost, which we will try and stream at some point. And when I do them, I'll probably bring at least every start of the different playthroughs over to Twitch. Just, if people are interested, see what they're like. There's reference there. And then we've also tried, in a completely different vein, Warhammer 40k bolt gun. Just tried that today, actually. Just come off stream 3-4 hours ago. We finished chapter 1. The shooting, the music, the atmosphere, the way your Space Marine feels as you're playing him are all really, really good. Puzzle elements, not so much. But honestly, this is because I'm not really a fan of puzzle elements in a first-person shooter. Okay, Half-Life did it really well. Doom Eternal did it. Doom Eternal felt really half-baked, and I didn't like it. And this is erring, to me, more on the kind of Doom Eternal puzzle logic. If you liked the Doom Eternal puzzle logic, then I think you will love, and also if you love the kind of old Doom, classic Doom era look, then I think you'll really enjoy Bolt Gun. That will be coming over to this channel as well, as soon as I remember to export it over, which, could be today, could be tomorrow, could be a year. Who knows? Well, not a year, because the VODs disappear after 2 weeks. So if I don't do it in 2 weeks' time, it will not be coming over here, but hopefully I can remember within a time frame of 2 weeks. So I've just kind of gone on to the Twitch stuff when we were talking about YouTube. The other big project I've kicked off, which I've done a couple of posts over on Patreon, which are behind the paywall at the moment. They won't remain behind the paywall for very long for anyone who's interested, but I'm trying to design a tabletop RPG, which hopefully I can then put into a kind of computer RPG. Now, I'm doing a digital tabletop RPG because a lot of it, I think, would need to be scripted, even though the logic will be very much like if you've ever played something like, I don't know, HeroQuest, or some more modern example, Nemesis, the space game, like board game, Dark Souls even, if you've played that one, or for the tabletop RPG side, Ironsworn, Starforged. The idea behind this is there'll be a lot going on, and I want it to be random, and I want it to be single player focused, also co-op, but always PvE, and never with a kind of dungeon master sitting in that spot. If you and your friends want to get together and play the game, you'll be forming a group, and you'll be going on this adventure in a kind of co-op way. Based on the Cakeverse, I'm limiting the area of the Cakeverse that we're going to go into to start, just so we can start to work out class, rules, races, species, all that kind of stuff, and just game mechanics. The logic will all be very manual, but then scripted to kind of have the computer doing a lot of the setup and the randomness behind the scenes, so you don't have to pull out a card, pull out a certain tile. The system will do it for you, but it's going to be a very slow process. It's going to be a learning process for me. I've decided to start it off on Foundry Virtual Tabletop, so I can kind of learn the ropes there, and then once we kind of get to a place where there's a kind of playable version, I'll see how I can get it out to people. Obviously, I'm working with Foundry. Sorry, not with makes it sound like they know what I'm doing. I own Foundry Virtual Tabletops. That's why I'm using it. If people want to try it, basically the only way is going to be for me to host my version of Foundry Virtual Tabletop, and then people can just log in as a player to give it a go, or they would have to pick up Foundry VTT themselves, which I don't. If you're going to pick it up anyway, great. but don't pick it up just for this, because I have no idea how long this is going to take, and I have no idea how long this is going to go for, or how far we'll get. But there's a couple of posts up already. Like I say, they will go free to view on Patreon at some point, and if at some point with this project we can afford to host our own website again, then I will most definitely start putting all the stuff over there, as well as probably listing all of the reviews as well over there as well. On the podcast front, I'm not really concentrating on that at the moment. I kind of want to get this review video stuff done. I've been waiting for fiber internet for so long so I could do videos. I've got it. I need to take advantage of it while, it's been my main excuse for not putting these videos out for a long, long time. So, now I can't go looking for another one. I just got to, shit or get off the pot, as a wise philosopher once said. So yeah, on the podcast side, I'm not really pushing forward with anything on there per se. That doesn't mean I won't. If I can find a subject or something that I feel I can do a 40-minute episode on every fortnight, then I will go back to the kind of podcast format. But I'm not chasing or trying to force anything on there at the moment. Story-wise, all of the stories, lore, etc. that I'm building, I'm now envisioning as going into the tabletop RPG. So building up lore, characters that I can put into the world that people will then be able to play through. So again, that may stall a little bit. I may do a couple of lore starters, general like world overviews, like location overviews, that kind of stuff. But for now, most of my story efforts, apart from 2, will be purely going on the kind of digital virtual tabletop, virtual tabletop and digital is the same thing. Digital tabletop RPG. So I think that covers that. The 2 projects that I am working on a little bit, it's not that I can't anymore. It's that I don't want to go into a huge amount of detail right now. But one project that was filmed, not edited all the way, but it was largely filmed, it was all filmed, largely complete, and then derailed for reasons I can't actually go into. I now have ownership of that project back, including the majority of the footage. So I now have a great big lump of raw footage, which we're going to try and work into something, but it will take a while. But hopefully that'll be a project I can start to do updates on soon. And that'll be an interesting one. If we can move that one forward, that one would be great. And then the other one is in a very similar vein. It's an animation project, which a third-party animation studio had been working on. They have since gone bankrupt. God bless you, COVID. I've managed to get most of the animation, again, footage. I don't know what you call it. It's not raw animation frames. It is animation footage. It's put together into large segments. So I don't know what you call it. I don't have like a flip book. I don't have individual frames. That's not really how they worked. It was all digital animation, and I do not have the digital animation assets. Sadly, those were lost. And even if they weren't, they were done in a program that I don't have access to anyway. But I do have a lot of the footage that was put out. It's not color graded particularly well, but color grading I can do if I have to. But again, that's another set of footage that hopefully I can do something with down the line. The reason I'm saying down the line is I kind of want to get simpler tasks done before I go for these more complicated ones. As always with these updates videos, there's always a chance this will be the last one. The cost of living, all that good stuff. It's a very difficult time to try and eke out a living. And it's getting more and more difficult as 2023 goes on. There was a stage around the midway of 2022 that I thought it was going to balance out, but I was wrong. You know, and it is getting harder and harder. I still want to keep on doing it, but, you know, always got to put yourself first. And if I have to give it up to pursue something else, then that is what I will have to do. But, you know, on the Twitch side, we've made it almost 5 years. Well, I've been streaming for over 5 years now, but my official Twitch affiliate-versary, God, I hope they don't call it that. And I hope nobody starts calling it that. If I've put that evil into the world, I'm so sorry. Is the 28th of this month. I never thought I would make it a month. I never thought anybody would watch. I never thought anyone would support me monetarily for this stuff. I'm trying not to say bullshit, but I just did. So the fact that we're 5 years in and people are still doing all of that is amazing. And I'm so thankful for all the support over the years. I'll keep on doing it for as long as I can. That's kind of my promise there is I will keep on doing this for as long as I possibly can. And pulling the plug will be a very emotional last ditch, I had no other choice effort. This video is probably a lot longer than I wanted it. Yeah, I think we're at 20 minutes and I want to keep these to 10. So let's round things off, shall we? Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for sticking with me for 5 years. And hopefully after 5 years, I'll finally get my ass into gear and get the stuff out that I've been promising for the last 5 years. Maybe.